Okay, so now we need to cite the articles from the close reading activity that came from our textbook in our works cited page. So depending on which one you used, that's the one you will cite, but I'm going to show you how to cite both of them. So citing a work in an anthology, if you click this link, it takes you to the OWL at Purdue website, which gives you some detailed examples of how to do works cited for many different types of books. And there's an anthology. But sometimes items in an anthology are reprinted from another publication. So I have a link here, an example of how you would do that if it's reprinted. For example, where I Find My Heroes says it's from McCall's Magazine, November 1992. So we're going to have to cite that a little bit differently. And I got that from this little article. It shows us how we do that. It's an example from the Schumann Library, and it says that you do all the citation information and then you put originally published in, and then we'd put McCall. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So the basic information you always need from a textbook is the last name, comma, first name, period, then the title of the essay or section with quotation marks, and then the title of the collection, which is Elements of Literature, who the editors are, the publisher, the publication year, and the page numbers. So I'm going to show you how to do that. This is what it would look like with the hanging indentation. So we're going to start by looking at the article. So the article actually Where I Find My Heroes, if this is the one you're going to use. The author is Oliver Stone, and Where I Find My Heroes is the title of the book. So that would go in the first part. So we would pull that from here. Where I Find My Heroes, Oliver Stone. So that's the author, title of the essay. Then we need the title of the source, Elements of Literature. So we go to the title page of our textbook, and we see that the title of the book is Elements of Literature, third course. So that's what we type in italics. Then we look for the publisher, and that is Holt, Reinhardt, and Winston, with a comma, and then the publication date you get on the back of the title page, the catalog and publication data, and the copyright. You look for the most recent date, and that is the most recent date of the copyright. It is 2007. So that's what we put on that part. So here we have all that information, Elements of Literature, third course, the publication date. Then you put the page numbers, and that's at the bottom of the actual article. When you scroll down, you see the page numbers. So you will grab those numbers, page numbers 819 to 820, and then you put in the originally published in McCall's, comma, November 1992, period. Okay, that comes at the end. So what it will look like is Stone, comma, Oliver, period, quotation space, quotation marks, Where I Find My Heroes, period, quotation marks, space, then in italics, Elements of Literature, colon, space, third course, comma, then the publisher, Holt, comma, Reinhardt, and Winston, comma, the publication date, 2007, comma, page, 2 P's, lowercase, in a period for pages, space 819 to 820, period, and then originally published in McCall's. McCall's should be in italics, and because it's a name of a magazine, and then November 1992. So if I am pulling a piece of information from the text, this is an example of a quote I might use. This is the in-text citation. And if I said Oliver Stone's name in the sentence, for example, Oliver Stone states that in his opinion, heroism is tied to an evolution of consciousness. Quotation marks, space, parentheses, the page number that was on, close parentheses, and a period. And that references right here is Stone to alphabetically where Stone would appear in our works cited. So if we wanted to do the other article, again, we pull the information, the author, Kirk Douglas, title of the essay, which it looks like I forgot to type. So heroes with solid feet, period, quotation marks. And that would be here. And then the title of the container or the book, which is Elements of Literature, third course. Publisher, publication date, it's all the same. Page numbers are different, 821 to 823. And then originally published in, it tells you right here, from the New York Times, April 23, 2001. So that goes there. So what that would look like is here. Douglas, Kurt, period, space, quotation marks, heroes with solid feet, period, quotation marks, space, in italics, elements of literature, third course, comma, Holt, comma, Reinhardt and Winston, comma, 2007, publication date, comma, page numbers lowercase, space 821 to 823, period, and then originally published in, and this should be in italics, the New York Times, which because it's the name of a newspaper, April, comma, April 23, 2001. So all of that we would put alphabetically. Oh, here's the reference in text citation. And so there's an example of what N.J. Borick stayed in Berlin despite the devastation of her family during World War II because she said, comma, quote, I owe that to the little heroes, end quote, parentheses, Douglas, 822, parentheses, period. So that's the quote. There's the citation. So we've got to make this works cited page alphabetically, D for Douglas, R for Rotman, S for Stone, if you used both of them. But if you only use one, you would just choose the one you used. So we go to the article and we're going to type that. So here's an example of how I might have that in my paper. There's the one from the novel. Here's an example of my quote from Oliver Stone. And here's my example of my quote from Kirk Douglas. And I would have other text around it. But then I go down here and I have got to type in the works cited page. So Rotman, if I'm going to do all of them, it would go second. So I'm going to hit enter and go back up, arrow up, and I'm going to type Douglas, comma, Kirk, period, space, quotation marks, heroes with solid feet, period, in quotation marks, space, then do my italics for elements of literature, third course, remove my italics, comma, Holt, Reinhardt, I need a comma there, and Winston, comma, 2007, comma, page number 821 to 823, period, and then originally published, lowercase p, in, do my italics for the New York Times, and then remove my italics, then a comma, April 23, 2001, period. Now, I don't have my hanging indentation. We're going to get that in just a second. Well, let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter and then bring that one back up. Now I'm going to show you how to do a hanging indentation. We'll add the other one in just a minute. But here we go. I have all of this highlighted. I'm going to grab up to the top. I am going to take this little triangle and grab it and drag it to the 1/2 inch. See where it says 0.5? Let go of my cursor. Grab the rectangle and drag that back to where the gray and the white meet, where it says 0, and let go. And there I have my hanging indentation. So do that again so you can see. So I've highlighted it. Grab the triangle to the 1/2 inch mark. Grab the rectangle back to the margin where it says 0, and then that margin should be even with everything up here, and that's the hanging indentation. I still have the other citation to do, so I'm going to hit return at the end of the Rotman so that I could put Stone because S comes after R. So Stone, comma, Oliver, period, where I find my heroes, period. Then I'm going to add the italics. So I can do elements of literature, third course, move my italics, put a comma, Holt, Reinhardt, Reinhardt, and Winston. And guess what it did? It automatically did the hanging indentation because I set this up this way. So when you hit return down here for the works cited, it's automatically doing your hanging indentation. So now I'm still typing Winston, comma, 2007, comma, page number, period, 819 to 820, period, and then originally published in italics, McCall's, and then remove my italics. You could do Command I to remove, comma, November 1992, period. And that is the works cited page, and those are directly referenced to each of these in-text citations. And that is how we do our works cited from our articles.